A homeless encampment in El Cajon just keeps growing. Neighbors say Caltrans has come and cleared it out, but within hours, people move right back in. And this area is just around the corner from an elementary school. Good evening, and thank you for joining us. I'm Carlo Cicchetto.
And I'm Steve Price. In tonight for Marcella. This encampment is located near 1st Street and I-8. Working for you, we reached out to Caltrans to get some answers. From the street, you see fences cut, trash, and clothing. Now, take a look from above. Huge encampments, bicycles all over the place, even a makeshift shelter.
It is dangerous.
Marianne Ostermeyer is beyond frustrated with the situation around 1st Street and I-8 in El Cajon.
The other day, I saw a mother walking with her 3 kids, and I saw this maniac pop out of this fence and start lunging and screaming at her.
And making this even more concerning is that Narenka Elementary is just a couple blocks away, and school starts up again in a few weeks.
It's not okay.
Marianne has notified Caltrans, and they have been out here cleaning out the encampments, but
Caltrans will fix the fencing. They've spent God knows how much money fixing the fencing. And then that night, the fencing is cut again.
Caltrans keeps patching the same old fencing. But just a few miles away, they've been installing this new, heavier fencing that's a lot tougher to cut. Working for you, we reached out to Caltrans, and they acknowledged Marianne's area is a problem, telling us in a statement, "We are aware of the date that children will be walking by this area to begin the new school year at Narenka Elementary and are aiming to have the area cleared by then." As for the heavier fencing, they said Caltrans is looking into installing fortified fencing in this area.
It's time for Caltrans to look at that priority list and say, hey, maybe if there's a middle school in the area, maybe we need to jump that up on the list.
Caltrans has agreed to keep us updated on the area, and Marianne promises to stay on top of it too.
I can't fix the world, but by God, I can take a stand here, and this is a stand. This is the hill on which to die.
Marianne will keep watching what happens out there, and we will too. And remember, if there's something you'd like us to look into, go ahead and email us at workingforyou@cbs8.com.
A wildfire in Riverside County is still growing tonight.
The Nixon fire broke out yesterday just east of Temecula. It's in a rural area near the border between Riverside and San Diego counties. It has now burned 4,500 acres and is zero containment. We are told that one home has been destroyed. At least 4 other buildings have been damaged. Hundreds more remain threatened. Fire crews say steep terrain mixed with hot and dry weather out there is making containment efforts difficult.
Some steep areas that our firefighters will have to get into to combat this fire and build that containment line. Honestly, it's a lot of hard work for our firefighters getting in there with hand tools to create this line.
And investigators out there are still looking into what sparked that fire.
We're also watching a vegetation fire burning near the border. CAL FIRE tells us they have stopped that fire's progress. This is what it looked like from Chopper 8 around 2 this afternoon. At last check, that fire has burned 300 acres and is now 10% contained. Meantime, in Northern California, the Park Fire has now become the state's 5th largest wildfire ever. Flames have burned more than 380,000 acres since the fire broke out last week. Containment is now up to 14% from 12% yesterday. A recent stretch of cooler weather has helped firefighters limit the spread and build containment. Fire chiefs from across the county are drawing attention to the cancer risks that come with the personal protective equipment that firefighters wear. Over the past 10 years, 152 firefighters in the San Diego Fire Rescue Department have been diagnosed with occupational cancer. The group is calling for alternatives to its PPE. The standard PPE for firefighters has included substances known as PFAS, or forever chemicals, since 1971. A state bill introduced in May aims to protect firefighters from these cancer-causing chemicals.
Is no alternative right now for us to wear other kind of protective gear in these fires. PFAS has been classified as a possible human carcinogen, which is very concerning, obviously, to all of our folks and to us as fire service leaders, that our personnel are wearing this and exposed to this each and every day.
As fire agencies look for safer alternatives, San Diego Fire says They're instructing firefighters to only wear that equipment while working, not at community events or other non-essential activities.
We are learning new details about a deadly home invasion in Oceanside last night. Police say a man who was carrying a rock and a stick tried entering at least 7 different homes before he was finally able to get into one on Diamond Circle off Olive Drive. Now, once inside, police say the man threw a rock and hit a man who was living in the home in the face. Well, that male occupant then grabbed a gun and shot the suspect 3 times, killing him. Neighbors we talked with in the area are still shaken by what happened and worry about the future of their neighborhood.
To get more cameras, but now all of our neighbors are on high alert and actually getting more cameras and security systems as well.
Oceanside police described the suspect as a 22-year-old man. No other information about him was available. The city of San Diego is starting eminent domain action against landowners in La Jolla so the city can install bike lanes on Gilman Drive. Now, property owners say the city is not offering them a fair price. As CBS 8's David Gottfredson reports, the land seizure will allow the construction of bike lanes in both directions, separated from vehicle traffic.
Staff is requesting authorization to commence an eminent domain proceeding to acquire the property interests necessary for this important public project.
City of San Diego staff have successfully negotiated with 4 landowners near UCSD to buy their property so the city can install Class 4 bike lanes on both sides of Gilman Drive.
This north-south corridor is essential to completing a safe, protected regional bike route from Oceanside to San Diego.
Gilman Drive already has single bike lanes in both directions. The new lanes would be separated from traffic as part of the coastal rail trail.
There's already a bike lane there. So I think they're just, whenever it's all said and done, they're going to take 1 extra foot.
David Laudermilch is one of 2 property owners along Gilman Drive who have not accepted the city's offers. The city wants to pay him $135,000.
I got an independent appraisal for $700,000 last week. Your proposal to me is $135,000.
I spoke to the other landowner on the phone. Rebecca Robinson said the city's offer did not amount to fair market value. Public speakers at a city council meeting earlier this month disagreed with the city's planning priorities.
This is for bike lanes, and really how many people, actually use these bike lanes compared to driving and other things.
City Councilman Joe LaCava pushed back, saying the only other alternative was to put a bike lane through nearby Rose Canyon.
No matter how good you do your work, how noble the project is, you change people's lives forever just by showing up.
The City Council voted unanimously to let the eminent domain legal action move forward. Negotiations with the property owners can still continue. In La Jolla, David Gottfredson, CBS 8.
And the council's busy right now. The San Diego City Council is discussing plans that would bring tens of thousands of high-density housing units to parts of the city.
Just moments ago, they approved a plan for the Hillcrest area, so now the discussion is going to turn to University City. CBS 8's Shannon Handy is monitoring that meeting and has the details on what's at stake.
There's been a lot of back and forth on this issue. Proponents say more housing is desperately needed, but opponents worry about high density and the issues that go with it.
Balance that respects the varying degrees of support within the community.
Today, the San Diego City Council discussed whether or not to move forward with a new community plan, which will allow for more density and mixed zoning in Hillcrest and the surrounding Midtown area, as well as University City. Doing so paves the way for 17,000 new housing units in Midtown, more than doubling the population there from about 40,000 people now to 100,000 by the year 2050. In University City, 30,000 housing units would be added, doubling the population there as well. Some of the housing could include high-rise buildings of 20 stories or more.
It is impossible for them to say that it will increase the opportunities for affordable housing, as that automatically makes the bedrock price of the land so expensive that nothing affordable can be built on it.
The updated blueprint includes plans for more bike lanes, pedestrian walkways, as well as a streetcar connecting Hillcrest to other communities. Those for it say adding more housing is critical, especially units people can afford. That includes for staff and students who live and work in and around UC San Diego.
The University Community Plan Update is a big priority for the life science industry. I've been part of this process over the past 6 years, and what we hear from our employers is that housing near where people work is the biggest issue in attracting and retaining high-skilled workforce.
These plans, I'm really excited about their attention to putting high density near transit and allowing people to really live where they also work and play, which reduces vehicle miles traveled and actually gives me as a young person hope that I will have a future in San Diego.
But opponents worry about traffic congestion, turning two-way streets into one, and parking. They also question the lack of public input as well as having enough services to support that type of growth.
This is a plan to double the population of my community with almost no amenities for the citizens, and that's what makes us more than unhappy.
Shanna Handy, CBS 8.
Shannon, thank you. The City Council is also paving the way for more affordable housing in Pacific Beach. Council members just approved a $2 million loan to the Rose Creek Village project, which would build a 60-unit, 5-story building on Garnett Avenue just east of Soledad Mountain Road. That's the site of an old sushi restaurant.